Hello and welcome to the Keep It Local Maine podcast, where we tell the stories of local business owners and Maine residents and learn more about what they do, who and what inspires them, their challenges, successes, and more. My name is Todd Regalinsky.
And I am Kimberly Regalinsky.
And we are the publishers of Keep It Local Maine, a local magazine that helps showcase local businesses to the people in and around their communities. Thank you for tuning in to our weekly podcast that you can subscribe to on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can learn more about us at keepitlocalmaine.com and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through the links in the show notes.
This episode is sponsored by Fabian Oil, a family-owned and operated business that offers heating oil and propane delivery, services, and repairs. Fabian has been serving central and northern Maine with propane and oil for over 30 years. As a local Maine business, they cherish the relationships they have formed by serving the people of their communities. In 2019, Fabian entered the southern Maine region with a heating oil acquisition, and they have recently brought propane to the market. They are aggressive and would love to be your supplier. Give them a call at 207-793-2044 or visit fabianoil.com.
In this episode, we'll be talking with Rebecca Wood and Kris Hobbs from The Workshop at Ace. The Workshop is a DIY creative studio hosted by Oak Hill and Dunstan Ace Hardware, where imagination and craftsmanship come together. From novice to expert, you'll learn something new while you create one-of-a-kind handmade projects at their make and take classes or get informed at their Hardware and Home Care 101 series on basic how-to topics. Co-founders Rebecca and Kris bring years of experience to this fun and welcoming space. Don't think you have the know-how to tackle something new? They will prove you wrong.
Welcome to the show, Rebecca and Kris. We're so glad to have you here with us today. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, coming into our virtual studio.
I
like Kim.
I always say that.
Kim always says that every single day. Thanks for coming in. Like, really?
Well, it's just one of those
They're
things.
there, we're here.
Yes, but, we're in this virtual thing.
Yes.
We did come into the workshop, so.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes,
So, yes.
There you go.
I was wrong yet again.
So I'm so excited to have you guys on the show today because I love what you do, and I love just the fact that it's so unique. It's a woman-owned business, and so I want to just dig in and say, ask the question, tell us what is the workshop and what was really the inspiration for starting it?
Well, the workshop is a DIY creative studio in Scarborough, and we put it on in conjunction with Ace Hardware. We have 2 stores in Scarborough, and the physical location of the workshop is at one of them closer to the Saco end at our Dunstan store. And I had been wanting to do something like this for a while. We had done some intro classes to chalk painting and other sort of informational things at the store, but there really wasn't a good physical space to be doing things like that frequently. So there's a building in the parking lot of Dunstan that we had a tenant in that ended up relocating. So there was a vacant space, and I staked my claim on it so that we could start doing this.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So what, and now I want to just back up a little bit. This is in conjunction with Ace Hardware. You guys have 2 locations. And what's cool about this is you guys are a family business, correct?
Yes. Yeah. My family owns both locations. We also own the property at Dunstan, and my dad has been working at the store since he was in high school, and now him and my mom own the businesses, and my brother and I work here as well.
That's so cool. So growing up, was there a lot of DIY projects that you were exposed to, growing up around the house and things like that? How did you develop kind of that passion for that?
Yeah, I mean, my dad's pretty handy, I guess. So if there was something around the house, he'd try to tackle it, learning a lot of stuff from the hardware store as you're helping customers and plumbing and electrical and everything like that. You just pick up on a lot of things. So it's a good business to be in when you're a homeowner too, or a young homeowner as they were. So I think he picked up a lot of things there, and my mom's pretty handy and creative as well. So I think between the 2 of them, I just saw a lot of that stuff going on, and the attitude is always sort of, well, just figure out how to do it. And so that's sort of, I adopted that attitude as well, I guess.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. So what are some of the projects that you've done in the past, and what are some of the ones you think you'll be offering this spring and summer?
So the projects that we have primarily started with, September 2019 is when the space became available and we started renovating to a degree. And to open, and we were expecting to open the following May, but with everything going on, we sort of pushed that back and decided to open at the end of summer just so that we had something to look forward to and just get started on. And we started with a lot of wood home decor type projects. So trays and signs, menu boards, little sets of hooks, a s'mores tray, things like that. So you come in and stain the item and assemble it, get to use some power tools. Everything pretty much has a stencil on it. Some of them are customized, so you can put your last name or a date or your address or whatever it is, depending on the item. And you get to choose how you want it to look, what the stain and the paint and all of that stuff is. So there's a little bit of creative side of it, and there's a little bit of learning how to use some power tools. A lot of people come in here and they've never, even used a drill. If they hadn't had to, then they hadn't picked anything up. So we started with a lot of those kind of projects, and then we took a little break over the holidays, and just since it's been cold and everything, we've spent this time brainstorming some new things that we can do to kind of branch out from the wood stuff, like making planters or tie-dyeing or
Cool.
Welcome mats.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just to learn some different techniques and try to have a broader appeal of different types of projects to do. We were lucky to have a partner in Hancock Lumber when they opened their new location in Saco. So they're kind of our wood sponsor, if you will. We get premium pine from them.
That's so cool.
To make these projects. So that's another local family-owned business.
Yeah, we're actually going to be having Kevin on the show here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Kevin Hancock. So we're excited about that. Yeah, I think that's just really cool how you guys are partnering up with another locally owned Maine company and just working together. I mean, because that's what, Maine is really all about. And it's really cool that, so when people come in, you're teaching them how to use some of these tools, correct?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of we have kind of two mottos here. One is be brave enough to suck at something new. We don't want people to be intimidated by coming in, and it's just to show people how easy this stuff can be, and it's really to empower people to maybe try some of this stuff on their own. We have two takeaways. We want people to walk away having had a good time, obviously. So I guess three takeaways: having had a good time, learn something. My goal, and I have, part of my background is in education, and so my goal is I always want people to walk away having learned something. Whether you might say, you know what I learned? I hate their hand sanitizer. Whatever you learned that night, So learn something, obviously have a good time, and be happy with what they walk away with. Oftentimes people will go, oops, no, it's okay. We can fix it. I think we say that 20 times a class. It's okay.
Class,
we can fix it.
Don't worry about it.
It's not a big deal. We can fix
quote
that.
unquote mistake.
Right. And part of that is learning for us too. Like Rebecca was saying, we're developing new kinds of projects for the spring, and we're actually bringing in other people to teach with us, people who will be teaching more informational while we're pairing that with an actual project. We have somebody coming in to do a birding class, which really is about feeding birds, especially for this area and that kind of thing. That'll be paired with making a bird feeder.
Oh, cool.
We also are doing other 101 classes in conjunction with the hardware stores. People are obsessed with their lawns. So we have Dan, who's the owner, and one of the assistant managers from the other store are going to come in. They're going to teach people, how to get that beautiful lawn you really want to get and how to take care of it. And you don't have to seed 12 times a year and, all this other stuff. So that'll be good. We're going to have a class on pollinators and hosting pollinators and making a bug hotel. So just basic things like that, but trying to incorporate the two different avenues of this business to teach people, not just I made a cute thing, but I also learned what I can do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the whole idea of the bird feeder and learning how to feed birds, because I
because of your spectacular bird feeding fail this past year.
Yes. I got not one bird in my bird feeder. Not one.
Oh, there could be a lot of reasons for that. But.
What the heck?
Every single morning, that's all I heard was not one single bite. I'm like, again with the bird feeder.
Yeah. How many squirrels did you get?
Nothing. I got no one. Wow. I would have been happy if I got a squirrel. I got nothing in that stinking bird feeder. So I need to attend that class.
You should. You should. April 17th, I think.
Okay.
That one is.
April 17th. It's on my calendar. I need to learn how to get a bird. I need to get a bird. I want to watch the birds. So
she saw Mary Poppins and just became obsessed. She was singing the song, I can feed the birds.
Well, that was her problem. She put up a bird feeder. She needed to go sit on the steps of the courthouse or something.
That's right.
There we go. There, it's all settled.
Yes. I love that. I love that you guys are helping people to be hands-on. And what I love about what you do too is I'm kind of old-fashioned. So I like receiving homemade gifts. Like I love to receive something that was thought out. And I know like for Christmas this year, I asked my family to make me homemade gifts. That means so much more than really anything. And it's cool that people can come in and create something from scratch. And what a beautiful just gift idea. What a great opportunity for someone that's having, a bridal shower or birthday parties to get together or just, family to get together and create something. It's really cool. Just the whole concept of what you guys are doing is that you're teaching people and then they walk away with something that's very personal.
Yeah, it's a mix of people coming in when they're making a project, whether they're making it for themselves or someone else. And we also did some stuff over the holidays just to try to mix it up a little because some people were not interested in coming out to the world, although we do have super small class sizes at the moment and can accommodate your private group and things like that to make it easier. But we did do some custom projects for someone. Someone wanted to replicate a trail sign that was named after her husband. So she had us make, I think, a dozen signs or so of that trail sign that she could give us gifts. And we did some made to order things for people who either didn't have time or whatever it was to come in and make the thing. I think we made a couple like grilling trays with people's names on them for them to give as gifts. We've done, speaking of groups and things, we've done some private groups, including a kids party. We had fun with a Harry Potter themed party where they came in and made a little sign and some wands and had a little get together, which was fun. And you mentioned something about weddings and bridal parties. That's another thing we're working on for the spring and summer, where a bride and or some of her bridal party or whoever could come in and make some DIY items for their wedding, whether it's signs to go to direct people or a box to collect cards or
gifts, thank you gifts for their bridal party. That kind of thing. Cool. We're planning, we have a couple what we're calling wedding workshops planned now for that and hoping to work with some local venues to connect with their brides. That's great. Maybe not necessarily brides, but they're people.
Yeah. And it seems like too, another great, any realtors that are listening to this, I know a lot of times realtors like to give gifts to their clients, and it seems like this could be something great for them as well. Like whether they have you guys custom make the product or they go in and they actually spend the time to make it themselves. It seems like that would be a great avenue of people to utilize what you guys do. And because I know that a lot of times, realtors, when people buy a home, they like to give them a custom gift. Yeah. So it seems like
that's a good idea, and we've thought of that a little bit, and so we hope to connect with some people.
That's great.
This spring as well to sort of figure that out, and just also a way we're finding that the best way to get the word out is to have people come in so they have an understanding of what's going on here, because it's hard to cram all into an ad or it's best when we can show people. So I think the more we can get the word out by connecting with wedding venues and realtors and other groups, teachers and things like that, to get them a flyer information or a coupon to help send people in is what we're trying to get started on. We did a little bit of a soft opening, I would say, this fall, just because we didn't quite know how everything was going to go. But we had I'd say we're pretty successful considering the situation and everything.
Starting in a pandemic, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've had 76 students at this
That's
point.
awesome.
Nice.
And we actually, like Rebecca was saying last week, we actually hosted over February break a group of teachers.
Nice.
So it was a private group, but it was, all ladies who work together every day. They're kind of, in that same bubble.
Yep.
And so they were comfortable coming. We do limit, if it's a regular open class, we do limit the size of the class to 6 people. It's all distanced. We sanitize all the tools. You get your own personal supplies. Everybody's masked the whole day.
That's great.
So we're lucky to do that. And so one of the things Rebecca was saying about bringing more people in, we actually have a new kind of a little opening happening. April 24th, we're having our spring open house. So people can, walk in, kind of see what we're about, seeing what new offerings we have, and, maybe sign up.
That's great.
Yeah,
We'll have to make sure to let people know about that for sure. April 26th?
24th.
24th. So April 24th is your spring open house. Okay, great. So what's a good way for someone who isn't crafty or handy to get started with DIY projects? What would you say is the first step?
I mean, honestly, coming to the workshop is a good first step. We have open studio times on certain Tuesdays during the month where you can just come in and do your own project. So you can get in touch with us in advance if you want to make something. We've had people come and refinish furniture. I had someone asking the other day about making some hooks for her mudroom. We've had people come in and make birdhouses and things.
Yeah.
So
Wedding gifts.
Yeah, you can come in and use our space and use some of our materials. You can just come in and use this space because some people just don't have an area that they can do that stuff at home, and also maybe don't want to invest in a chop saw or a table saw or whatever. So I think finding a place, like this, or someone who has some tools or know-how, so you don't have to make a big investment, is probably the biggest hurdle, because if you don't have the tools, it's kind of hard to do some stuff. But honestly, we just figure things out as they come along. Someone wanted to make a catio, like an outdoor patio for their cat, and she had some light plans to do it, and I just Googled it. Like, we just sort of look things up, figure it out, see with our combined knowledge, see what we think is going to work the best, and then just start trying it. So I think that's sort of the best advice I could give to anyone, is to just try something. Like, it's the worst that can happen. I don't get mixed up in electrical or plumbing, but other than that, I pretty much will try anything.
Yeah, that's great. Just do it.
That's one of the handy things about being part of ACE, or being, next to the hardware store, is we can walk next door and see, you know what, we might not have that, but we can walk next door and go, oh, I bet we can find something in here. Or, you know what, this guy's great at plumbing. Let's go ask him. Or, we're very lucky to have that resource. And that just benefits our students too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't buy that experience.
No.
And that's important. And also it's helpful when stuff breaks, you can just run and get a new one.
Yeah. And you can't know everything. I think sometimes people get intimidated because they think, oh, I haven't done something, or I don't know everything, or I have to know everything before I even can pick something up to get started. I have to know exactly how it's going to go, or what I'm going to be doing. You're probably going to run into some obstacles. That's normal. And I think it's just about having that sort of attitude of, all right, well, I'll just try it and figure it out. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. That's
Cool. Yeah. And I liked what you said earlier about people, oh, we can fix that. And, might be nervous about making mistakes. And, something as a musician, the thing I keep telling people is sometimes the mistakes are the most interesting part of the entire thing. Like, wow, that was a mistake, but that was actually kind of cool. Let's actually go with that.
Yeah.
and see where that goes.
I think allowing people, especially in adults, I think allowing them to feel like they can make a mistake. It's like, you know what? And we'll fix it. And if the worst comes to worst, if we can't fix it, we'll start over.
Right.
It's
the learning process.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think the word mistake too is not always the right, sure, you can overpaint and get a bleedy stencil or something, but I think often it's just more something comes out a little different than you had in your head because you hadn't done it before. So you're just not sure how it's all going to come out. But I'd say pretty much everyone leaves here really happy with what they've done, or surprised that they did it, or
Yeah.
happy
That
with
feeling
that
of accomplishment.
result. Yeah.
That's always a great moment. Like when they are complete, like if they're using a stencil, when they finally get to rip that off and they see what they've actually done, like that reveal is always
Yeah.
very rewarding for everybody. I think we're always really excited to see what people have done.
Yeah, although I will say, as someone who recently did that, of course, like I should have come to you. And
He made me a
I'm
sign
sorry.
for Christmas.
But I did
Come
like
on,
I did
Todd,
this.
where were you?
I know.
We were right here waiting for you.
Well, he needs to make another one, so he's coming to you for the next
no.
one.
Oh,
He needs to make another one from my office.
I did this project like like the whole stencil thing. I did it exactly probably the way you would tell people not to do it. So for me, when I was tearing off the stencil, it wasn't like those so satisfying. It was terrifying. I'm like,
Oh no!
just please let it not look horrible. That's as long as it doesn't look horrible, I can work with it.
Your heart
But
was
yes.
in it, right?
Yes,
Your heart was in it. That's
Yes, apparently my brain wasn't, but my heart was in it.
It was a good job.
So what are some of the favorite things? One of the favorite parts that you have of offering these programs, and just what you do at the workshop. What's your favorite part of that?
I like to see on the open studio, what people come up with and what they want to work on. That's always fun because it's something different. And we make a sample of all the projects and stencils. So can be a fun process to see how things come out and try new techniques. So I think I think when we opened and not really knowing what was going to happen, that was a little bit for our own mental health, just so we had something to do and look forward to.
Yeah.
And we do some of our own projects here. We're here on Tuesdays planning and doing things, whether someone's here or not. And some other days we were here pretty frequently over the fall because we had nothing else to do anyways. And we would just kind of do any of our own projects. So just trying something new.
Yeah.
And I think having that energy when people come in, that's the fun part when they start to see other projects or other that people are working on or on the wall, or we talk about things and kind of transferring that excitement and attitude to other people, I think is what we like about.
Yeah, well, we try to put out a pretty relaxed and fun vibe. We always have music playing. The group of teachers who came last week, they walked in with their shopping bags full of snacks, and they were a fun group to kind of play fun music for. And we do a lot of laughing and probably not great singing, but it's okay. Okay,
yourself.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I know. So Rebecca is actually a musician. So
yeah.
I was actually hoping she'd sing something for us.
I mean, I don't do my greatest singing here, to be honest. That's a fair comment.
I mean, if you ever want to see a performance of Hamilton, and Broadway's down, but
we're not.
We're not.
We perform that frequently. So if you ever want to, probably to the horror of everyone in the parking lot.
Not a lot of teams out there whose hype music is Hamilton, but that's ours.
The two woman rendition in Maine.
Yes,
got to see
that's
that.
unique.
I need to see that.
We got to cover all the parts.
You haven't even watched the original. I keep on
Well,
saying,
you should
watch
if
this.
you want to come see
Yeah,
us.
I want
instead,
to see theirs first.
Yeah, you might want to see us first. Play your cards.
Maybe you should get some testimonies from people who have actually heard our.
You play your cards right. My 11-year-old may do some Lafayette rap for you.
I love it. So let me ask you this. I love this question because everyone's a little different, and how would each of you? I'd love to hear your answers on this. But how do you define success?
That is a good question. And I think personally I have pretty high expectations for myself, and setting out to do this, I wanted it to be a certain way and to unfold a certain way. I'm really good at planning and organizing, and usually things do go to plan, and that's great. I think dealing with the obstacles that we had this year, we had to learn how to be a little bit more flexible, and maybe lower some of my expectations or temper them in a way that it just wasn't going to be exactly as I had planned. So I think in that way, looking at it, the success is, but we still did it. We opened, we tried something. We're still trying it. We adapted a lot to some different things, trying to do the made to order things, custom gifts for the holidays and things like that. We had talked about doing take home kits and everything. So I think that idea of sort of rolling with it to figure it out while still trying is really what I still feel good about. It's not the the package I thought I was putting together to begin with, and it didn't happen that way. But I'm still happy that we did it and tried and had the level of success that we had
That's great.
so far. So I think, yeah, you can look at numbers and money and all of that kind of stuff, but I feel personally successful that this is something that I had wanted to do for a long time and actually did it.
And you're doing it. That's so cool. How about you, Kris?
I guess for me, well, like Rebecca was saying, logistically, there's the success that we haven't had to lock the doors yet. So there's that. We've taken a small engine repair shop and created a pretty beautiful space for what it is. And it's a place that I think we're excited to come to just about every day. And I think the success for us is the people who come and walk out really happy. They might, it might not be their dream project, but they're really happy with the fact that they accomplished it. They had a good time, they learned something, and they want to come back.
Right.
And they say, oh, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring these two friends. Or, one of our teachers last week made a project and her mom fell so in love with it, but can't come out to a class, but they're so excited about it. We're going to make a take-home kit for them so she can do it at home. So to me, right now, that's what I believe our successes are.
I think we can really dial it back to just like on the class level, having people in, showing them how to use something or do something and seeing them be excited about that. And then at the end of the night, we're like, that was a great class.
Yeah.
So in terms of success of this particular venture, I think that's how we're looking at it.
Yeah, I think there's something so powerful in teaching someone something.
Yeah.
There's just such a power in that.
And the fact that we're excited for what's next, we're excited to keep doing what we've been doing, but to add the new and to, find out who's going to walk in the door next.
Yeah. I'm excited about the bird class.
We'll send you the schedule.
Okay.
I was at a point where I almost bought like a fake bird. Just I put it there just to see a little spark of joy.
You'll have to come and get some advice from Anne and make yourself
gonna be
a little feeder. So
yeah, I'm excited.
So another question that we tend to like to ask because it's informational for us. But who or what inspires you?
That's a good question. I think here, it's the people that come in and, like we were just saying, sort of showing them new things and seeing the excitement. And some people come in kind of nervous or don't have a lot of confidence about doing something creative or using tools. And when they do and they feel accomplished, then that's always inspiring and having that energy around so that we can come up with new projects to see what people are interested in. That's always fun. And then I guess in like the broader scheme, I'd say my parents are really a big inspiration to see what they've done over time. My dad has worked here since he was in high school and just kind of walked off the street. Him and his dad would come in because they lived down the street from Oak Hill at the time frequently. And I think he came in on like April break or something once and they were like, do you want a job? Because you're here all the time. And he just didn't come home for dinner. And his mom was like, well, where were you? He's like, well, I got a job. And then he just never left.
Never looked back.
So, opened a new store. They've got these buildings. They really, I have to say, let me take the reins of this venture as well without a lot of rules or regulations. I mean, I have to, it would be nice to make money and make it worth it. There's a certain amount of investment in here, obviously, but I think they trust me and they are excited as well and want to do something. So I think their sort of attitude of let's just try something and do it is definitely where it comes from for me. And that overall is just, I think what makes me feel like I could pretty much do anything and figure anything out, which is a good place to be in. I don't, I don't know everything, but I'm not scared to try. So
love that.
I think seeing how they've lived their life like that and taken some leaps of faith in things.
That's so cool. How about you, Kris?
For me, I have a little bit different background from Rebecca. I was a military spouse for over 20 years. So a lot of my inspiration is coming from seeing what a lot of it evolved so much. It used to be, it was very difficult to have a career. I'm seeing a lot of my, what we would call military sisters, whatever, kind of really are able to have careers take off and start their own businesses and kind of make the life they want to make within the parameters of moving around the world, or, trying to run a 3-kid, 2-dog household and a business without your spouse. Or so I look at how fortunate I am to have this opportunity with Rebecca, and I kind of think, God, could this have been something I could have done 10 years ago? But now I can. And
That's so cool.
And I have kids, and I have kids of very different ages. I have an 11-year-old and a 22-year-old. And so what their relative experiences are right now are so different. I can get inspiration from both of them so differently. Or like, my 22-year-old, she's a college senior, and she's, knows what's trendy and knows this. And, so she's great. She'll give me a lot of ideas. My youngest can be like, hey, Mom, you guys should do this for a kids class, which is something else we're going to do this spring. We're kicking off a couple of those over April break. And, so it's nice, and being encouraged and supportive, like Rebecca was saying, by her folks. That's inspiring, because you want to succeed and you want to see what else can we do, with their support.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, thank you, Rebecca and Kris. We really appreciate you taking this time out of your morning to be with us and bearing with our bird feeder stories and failings. We definitely encourage all of our listeners to check out the workshop. We'll have a link to your website, social media, all of that along in the show notes. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, people can sign up for all of this right on your website, correct?
Yeah, you can register for classes. They'll be up by the time this comes out, I'm assuming, in the spring for all of our different types of classes, and you just register right online, and I get an email, and I'm ready for you when you come in.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Awesome. And then of course, April 24th is going to be your open house. So that'll be really cool and great for people to be able to come in and check the place out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the thing I'm actually kind of excited about is the kind of that open time that you have on Tuesdays, I believe it was.
Yeah, and that's always on our calendar too, those dates that we have open studio time. And if there's an idea that you want to that's an easy thing to sign up for too. You just shoot us an email, let us know what you're interested in working on. We'll let you know if we have the supplies, what you need to bring, if we have any questions for you, and we can find out what level of help you may need. Or maybe not. Maybe just come in and it's a quiet space. You can put your music in and be left alone. Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
You might want to sit in a quiet corner and knit.
Away from your family.
Yeah. Hey.
We can support that.
Remote school, am I right?
Well, it's so cool that you guys are offering this, and that this is just a great place for people to go. So thank you again for sharing that with us and talking with us, and we really appreciate it. Wish you great success this spring.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you again to our sponsor, Fabian Oil. Be sure to contact them for all your propane and heating oil needs using the information in the show notes, and thank you for listening.